So with our handsome Mr. Allston, hi handsome boy, Mom was mentioning, nice check-in, that for him at times he struggles with letting go of items. So remember that if, let's say, when he gets a little too jazzed, nice job checking in, is for a lot of the babes sometimes the over-arousal can get them so excited that they have a really hard time going back and connecting with their thinking brain. So I'd recommend to create an on-off switch. So like for Mr. A or any of the beauties, yes. So the moment he sat, we might go ahead and reinforce with a food item, toy, reinforcement that he finds valuable. I like to, in the beginning, play with several different items he does well with, and then rotate through those items. I would try to also make it where there's a lot of great value in exchanging. So even if you were to grab for something he's not supposed to have, don't turn it into a big chasing game. So I know there's moments where we, out of habit, are like, oh no, the puppy has something. And then we're really worried about the pup maybe ingesting it or going and breaking the item. So I would highly recommend to practice with items he can have, nice job, and work that letting go has value. So right here, nice job. So if he goes and releases something all on his own, I might feed him for that great response. The other option is, of course, rotate through the different types of toys. So if he likes to do a lot of, like, let's say play with you where it's like interactive, I do like making toys come alive and then you become part of the game. So typically I like to have, like we mentioned, an on-off switch. I know you saw Mr. Ethan's other videos from last time. So for Mr. Handsome over here, I normally go, are you ready? And that normally means we're about to play or engage in some sort of training. So I might go with Mr. Handsome, say, you ready? And then start the game. Obviously right now I'm just blabbing as I'm keeping him entertained. But let's say we want him to relinquish the item or let go. This is where, again, you might do a second toy to give this one, again, not as much oomph by playing with it. And then you could go ahead and exchange for the original toy for the new toy. The other option is, let's say he's not as great at dropping in the beginning. I like to go right into like a little kissy noise, ready? And I might go right into some find it's right on the floor for him. So the toy doesn't instantly go away where I take it away and it's done with the game, but I might go, are you ready? And then go get it. And now my toy comes alive and he can go and grab for the item. He obviously forgot to chew that last time. So while he's now playing with his toy, the toy is alive, it's wiggling. Maybe he even goes and he gets this awesome toy. Then to practice relinquishing one, we go for, like, maybe you have a few that are more special and you could have him bounce back and forth between the two different items that way. So now that other one was pretty cool, but now this one may have more value because it's the new friend and we haven't played with him yet. And then also he's now finding it intriguing because it's alive and wiggling. So a lot of times, even if you're not always sure what to do, always think, do I like what he's doing, or would I prefer him to apply it to something else, or is there a different skill I'd like to replace with the thing I don't like? We tend to always think, I don't like what the dog is doing, I should just tell him he's wrong. And in the problem with that scenario is you're still not showing him what to do instead. And then a lot of times by accident, we may not be giving the dog an outlet, and their outlet might be do the bad things from our perspective and then get a lot of attention. So remember, just like with littles, if they don't know what to do and they sometimes finally get your attention when they do something that we deem inappropriate, the little one might try to do that again because it got mommy's attention almost instantly. So you may find for Mr. Handsome is getting him to practice. So like, let's say he really likes that one, he could care less about this. I might go, Allston, ready? Find it. And get him to practice letting go with a nice little find it. I shouldn't be drinking seltzer, I'm sorry, little bumbles. So let's say Mr. Handsome is rotating through toys and different food items, ready? So once he gets into more of a groove where he feels cozy letting go, it doesn't equal a negative thing, he finds that there's more play being given after we do sometimes practice the dropping and taking. So I'd make it where, again, you might go and get him to go grab something. Maybe when he's mid-play before he gets too jazzed, go, ready, Allston, drop, yes. And you might even feed him a few times, Allston, nice. So right there, he's just doing a little name recognition, but the toy doesn't go anywhere. I just wanted to think there's a really nice moment that when you take a little break, good things can happen in a different sense. So let's say taking a little break means in the beginning we get fed for taking a moment. Later, this could turn into when we release, we can then play again. So again, we might go, ready, Allston, go get it. And now the toy is alive and it's wiggling. And now Mr. Handsome has to go and try and catch it. Nice. So again, he's having a grand old time right there. Nice. He caught the toy. You can again work either your slogans for letting go of something would be, for example, out, give, drop it, whatever you'd like, release. There's a whole bunch of slews of words to choose from. So pick one that makes sense to you guys, but make sure it's not leave it. So leave it for me tends to always be don't engage with it, don't play with it, don't put it in your mouth. So those are always off limits items. So like right here when he's distracted, I might go, ready? Allston, ready? And let's say he's a little distracted, find it. Might go right into a lovely little disengagement. So if let's say, he's having a harder time, as opposed to me going to be like, oh no, and like rushing him, I like to sometimes just instantly go and practice dropping items nearby when it comes to food and get him to take little breaks between the toy. Ready? So then from there, we could go into a nice little find it again. Ready? Allston, what's this guy? He says, I really like the sheepskin. I know that one's typically pretty popular. So if he likes the sheepskin, I have my orange toy with a little black bit of sheepskin. It's of course seen better days. So let's say he's really excited and we're getting some of this very normal doggy behavior of jumping. What I like to do is, again, have my item. I might get, this is very, very nice, might get like a little sit or even stationary, so standing, and he's soft and checking in. And then for doing this, then we might go, what a good boy, and then go get it. So now, again, for being gentle or sort of checking in, he can now get the reinforcement of play. And this is, again, helps with creating that sort of on-off switch, where if he gets way too jazzed, this is a great way to, on purpose, practice revving the engine, putting the brakes on. Because otherwise, if he doesn't get the chance to sometimes work it through things he can do, it's going to be very hard if he grabs the laundry or he grabs the dish towel or whatever. Remember, though, whatever your babe is able to practice, they're getting good at. So if we're not restricting or setting them up for success in the environment they're living in, view it almost, again, like a small human child. If we had a toddler who was still putting dangerous things in their mouths or trying to play with the stove that's on with boiling water, we wouldn't be like, oh, just stop that and like let it happen. So a lot of times we baby-proof things. We put them in safe bubbles away from the unsafe items. We don't tell the baby they're in trouble for something they don't know how to do at that time. So remember, going right into their wrong or scolding doesn't really teach your puppy what not to do. It just teaches them at certain points throughout the day, we become overwhelming or scary. So your puppy's not going to realize that you're upset because they're about to jump on the warm stove. They're going to think you're upset because they're nearby and doing things near you. The little baby sat, was singing. I know, he was doing his own thing, and now he says, but I want to come join. So if, let's say, Mr. Hansom's a little bit bummed that he's not the one over here for a second, I'm just going to do a couple little find it's for the handsome guy with some of his chicken. Ready? Find it. Nice. I have a little stash over off to the side for him. So when working with your handsome guy, just make sure that, ready? Find it. You missed one. That when you're setting him up for success in your bubbles, has he practiced the skill we're asking? Has he been able to work it at a lower level first before implying he understands it in a harder setup? But getting Mr. A to practice rotation through some of these toys, ready, might be another great way to build in some of this nice letting go and then rotation through the items, through the food reinforcement, and through play. Nice. So then you could also mid-play, see if you can get a little check-in and work a few other little skills. So we might go, again, Allston. He's like, hold on, this one's amazing. So if he loves the sheepskin, of course, my little guy says, worst day, why aren't I part of the game? So if he loves the sheepskin, rotate through similar items, and then that can be helpful too. Of course, he says, what about me? And he had been nice and calm and quiet because he was enjoying some chews, but I think he's getting a little bit stir crazy, and he says he wants to have his turn next. Oh, Allston says, I like the sheepskin, it's fun to pluck. So let's say, for example, he takes the item, and this one's seen better days, so don't worry. For a lot of dogs, remember that shredding and ripping is a very normal dog behavior. I know for us, we don't really love it because they tend to break their toys very quickly or things that aren't theirs. So remember that if you're dealing with some behaviors that are not a huge, thing that you enjoy, ready? Try to, again, either create outlets that you'd prefer them working on, ready, Allston? Or go ahead and give them other mental and physical outlets that might help those behaviors become less prominent. So if, let's say, Mr. Handsome, ready? I might go into my little raccoon friend. He's like, oh, I really like the sheepy. So notice how, again, he's interested, but I'm not going to go ahead and turn it into a big thing, because if I do, then he might think that the better part is to go and rip for the sheepskin and then turn it into a game. He's like, no, but I almost got you. So again, I'm just going to move it out of range. I don't want him to kind of go and eat that one, just in case, because not everybody knows what's edible and what's not. So we may find for Mr. Handsome, getting him to rotate through some of these behaviors is a really great way to work those on-offs and practice getting him excited and coming back from it. So while he's mid-tugging, you could get into the habit of having 2 tuggies. You could go, again, show the next one, have him relinquish the first. But you can also, let's say right here, you go drop it. Yes, and feed for the let go. So don't worry if it's like not the most beautiful thing you've ever done in the very beginning. Just like with anything, it takes time to rehearse these skills and get more fluid. Nice. So again, we get him sort of excited. And then from here, he catches the critter. And then we might go, ready, Allston, drop. Yes. So as he gets more comfortable versus the find its at times, you may gauge his comfort range based off of how he's doing. So if his arousal is too high, or he's maybe just feeling a little bit wild, there might be moments where you may start off with play and then maybe have to rotate to another skill to help him simmer down. So right here, we might go, ready, oh, smart boy. You might also capture the moments where he does a great job relinquishing something. So the benefit, again, of sometimes using toys is you can also use this for focus on you. So we might go, ready, Allston, with me. We might use our toy to get his attention and start honing in on me and take a few steps together. Ready? So again, almost like I would use, he's like, oh, tennis balls everywhere, is the same way I would use sort of my food in the beginning. Good. The food could sometimes, again, lure the puppy into your space or lure them into doing that skill. And because the food seems reinforcing to them and they enjoy it, it becomes a behavior they want to offer again because of that history with learning and working those skills. So, but for Mr. Edible Chew Toy Man, I would recommend to, again, practice a little bit with food, with toys, with different types of items. So there's different, values to things. Ready? We'll do a little, oh, smart boy. We'll drop it. So maybe what we'll do, he's like, lady, I'm ready. Ready? With me? We'll do a little bit with some walking, with some of these lovely little moments. Mr. Handsome says it's almost his turn, which is true. Good. And then we can do a little bit of play again. Nice. Good job. So, but we'll give Mr. A little breather from this. I'll set up Mr. B with another little chew item for him for a moment. But they're all doing a really nice J for, again, day number 1 for the other lovely men. Nice job. So good boy. We'll let him kind of have that bad boy for a moment, and we'll take a breather. Good job, Mr. A.